Good afternoon, dear teachers. Hello, everyone. Hello from Kyiv, Ukraine. My name is Yulia Chorna. I'm a marketing specialist at Great Teacher Training. Today we are having a webinar about teaching young learners. But before we start our main session, let me introduce the speaker of today's webinar. It's Olena Lisitsa. Hello, Olena, are you here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, great to see you. Great to see you. All right. So before we actually start, I'm going to check if we don't have any problems with the sound. Like, could you please type plus in the chat box if you can see us and if you can hear us well? All right. Great. So more and more teachers are joining us. Could you please let us know where you are watching us from today? Where are you now? Kharkiv. Kyiv, great. Germany. Okay, so we are running an international event again, great. Khmelnytskyi, Черкаси, Кривий Ріг, Чернігів. All right. All right. Тернопіль. Great. All right, great. Kherson. Dnipro, right, great. So I can see that you can hear us and you can see us well. And before we actually start, today's session is going to be about teaching English to young learners. And in particular, we are going to talk about how to run effective grammar lessons. And Olena is going to share her secrets and her tips with you. Olena Lisitsa is an experienced teacher. She is also a CELTA trainer, and she has a lot of Moldova. She has a lot of international qualifications and a very huge teaching background. And Olena is also a DKTYL course trainer at our center. Olena, are you here?
I am.
Yeah, but I cannot see you, unfortunately. All right.
I'm there.
Yeah. So everyone will be interested in the session, but the teachers are also interested in certificates they are going to get upon the session. So if you are registered for this event, make sure that you check your email after this event. The follow-ups will be sent to you tomorrow, and you will get the certificate and the recording of this webinar together, and some materials from Olena. Her presentation will also be there. Make sure that you check the spam folder in your email, and because these emails usually drop there. All right, I won't take your time, Olena, right now. It's time for you to shine. Yeah, I hope, I hope and I'm sure that teachers will enjoy this session. It's going to be very fruitful and interesting. So I'm giving the floor to Olena right now. I'm here if you need any help from me. And I will be back at the end of this session to tell you some more interesting things that teachers might be interested in. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julia. So we can start. Thank you. I think you got a bit more words to say about me than I have to say about myself. Yeah, I do teach children a lot. I've been teaching for more than 18 years, and my youngest student was about 2 years old. That was like a long time ago. And they used to teach in the kindergarten, in the state schools, in the private schools. So like I did have some experience, so I can understand very well what teachers struggle with. Also, like most of you, I did catch the time when the COVID started. And I did have some younger learners that I needed to, to get to get them study while they were sitting at home. So kind of feel your pain and know I'm really ready to share some secrets that still work for my younger learner students and especially that work for online classes. And technically, yeah, this is not a session where I'll be giving you frameworks on how to teach grammar. This is basically the session about where we'll talk about how to get some spices on your grammar lessons, how to make them a bit more interesting, a bit more engaging, a bit more meaningful, and obviously fun for your students. All right. Okay, to start from, I want you to get a little poll. And yeah, we'll do the poll on Zoom chat because that seems to be the easiest thing to do. So here comes the question for you. So if syllabus was no object, okay? So if we all forget about syllabus that we'll need to cover in a year, what would you prefer to teach? Would you prefer to teach a grammar lesson? So if you prefer to teach grammar lessons, can you get in Zoom chat, put down G? Or a vocabulary one, can you put V? Okay, got about a minute. Can I put the things? Of course. Okay. Both. Yeah, you have to choose one, don't cheat. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, we got a lot of vocabulary lessons, which is very expected, right? Yeah, okay. A lot of people say both, doesn't matter. But yeah, definitely if you look in a chat, you can see that there are more people who would prefer vocabulary lessons rather than grammar lessons, especially teaching online. Right, and here is, yeah, that's the question. You see, the answer was very, very expected. So why do you think a lot of primary teachers enjoy teaching vocabulary lessons more? Okay, so can we get some of your ideas on Zoom chat as well? Oh yeah, they're easier to deliver. Of course, that's what we believe. They are easier to deliver. Exactly. So very often, a lot of teachers, when you get the grammar lesson, that's what you look like. It will look like that either before you plan the lesson, maybe sometimes during the lesson, or even sometimes after the lesson. Sometimes myself feel as if I'm about to pull my hair because I have feeling that they do not get the grammar, especially teaching online. And the reasons for this can be different. So first of all, it's a big thing because if you think about how native speakers learn grammar, yeah, we all know that their grammar is not perfect from the scratch, but we can imagine that they are being exposed to accurate grammar 24/7. They only listen to accurate grammar produced by their parents in English. Our young learner students meet twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, sometimes 4 times a week, but it's 4 hours a day. So we don't really think it might be enough to make their grammar very accurate. We also think about that's a very typical situation. Yeah, you think, okay, this is grade 4. We practice present simple. We practice present continuous. And now they cannot discriminate which one should they put there. Yeah, should they put present simple in this situation, present continuous? All the forms seem to jumble in their hands. Okay, or the other typical situation would be every year, starting from grade 2, you'll be doing present simple forms. And now they're grade 5, you open the book and this is still present simple and they still make mistakes. And it feels like if they do other speaking exercise, they still make mistakes with present simple. So you ask yourself questions like, what was the sense of studying present simple in grade 2 if in grade 5 they still make mistakes? Or you can say if you teach about grade 4, they're more or less fluent, you feel that they care more about expressing themselves in English and getting their ideas through, and they don't really care about making this accurate. And this goes on until they are teenagers very often as well. So the question is, why to teach accurate grammar if they seem to care only about the ideas and communication itself? Yeah, and also we might think that teaching grammar requires critical thinking, yeah, especially present simple, present continuous. That's the easiest grammar. As critical thinking is required, which one is now, every day, past simple. Some primary learners cannot differentiate yesterday from today. They cannot differentiate tomorrow from yesterday. They're just not ready yet. So what kind of grammar can we think about if they do not have developed critical thinking skill yet? Also, there are some learners who find grammar hard in any language, okay? I mean, they are more maybe math-like people, they're not really language-like people. So English grammar will be twice hard. And also, kids with learning disabilities as well. Yeah. Also, a lot of grammar structures require abstract thinking. I mean, like if you teach future forms, yeah, you teach will. I have students who says, I don't know about tomorrow. How can I give you like any predictions? So this requires abstract thinking that a lot of them do not have like developed yet. Also, grammar rules often follow logical patterns. Primary learners still developing their logical thinking, they do not have it developed yet. That might be the reason why they might find your grammar difficult. And also grammar is just boring because it's grammar. And we all know, oh, again, grammar. Yeah, grammar is boring. So talking about grammar, yeah, we can all look at the cognitive development stage. And this is Jean Piaget, you know, some of you know it, some like remember that from your, you know, university years when you were doing the cognitive developmental, you know, lessons and you were reading the books about Jean Piaget. And like if you look at his division by years, so when the students join the school, it will be like about, you know, 6, most of them will be 6. And like, and by the time they finish grade 4, they will be, they'll be moving from pre-operational level to concrete operational level. So your primary learners will be somewhere there. And like Jean Piaget said, that at the pre-operational level, children already are able to use language, which is good because they're developing their high-level thinking. But they lack some important cognitive operations. For example, when they are up to 2 to 7, they are, first of all, they're egocentric. They're very selfish. If you think about primary books, a lot of your projects will be about you, yeah, about them. Say like what I like, what my favorite color is, talk about your park, talk about your family. In the primary books, especially at the beginner level, you will often find only projects about themselves, not many about their friends, because they cannot simply see things from another point of view, you know. So for them, past forms might be like hard to perceive even cognitively because it requires some, you know, seeing points from a different view. Also, another thing that they also miss is called conservation. So technically, it means that they don't understand that it stays the same. Yeah. So, for example, if you give them a bucket of water, and then you put it like you say like they see the amount, and then you put something. You put the equal amount of water in glasses that will look differently. They will not understand that this is the same amount of water. You know, the glass that looks longer they will think that they get more water than the glass that's not longer. So I mean that they have no understanding yet, cognitive understanding, that something is the same. You know, even if it moves, it doesn't change its shape. At the concrete operational stage, where they, you know, entering like grade 4 and about like grade 5 as well, they now understand conservation. So by the time they'll be like grade 3, they will understand that if you change the shape of the cup, the amount of water will not change. But they still lack ability to think about abstract problems at this age. So isn't the reason why they might find grammar itself as grammar that hard? Also, if you think about like this website, I know this is not advertising any website. This is just the website that a lot of teachers use because it got a lot of downloadable worksheets and good things like templates for projects and for the lesson. So you just go there, type the topic, and they give like 20 different topics. So here it says in this website, so it's read by many primary teachers around the world. Here, what's this website talks about grammar. Yeah, so grammar incorporates teaching word order, tenses, different word types. That's all about grammar. Yeah, so it's good for communication, but this is all about grammar. Now think back to your lessons that you teach to younger learners. Do we really teach that? I mean, do we really teach them like tenses? Do we really teach them like much word order, like teaching? I'm not sure. Yeah, so if you think like and ask yourself the questions, do we really teach this particular grammar? whose whole native language is very different. Do we really teach that grammar? Not really, right? And now here comes another question. Can we really teach pure grammar lessons without incorporating any vocabulary in it? I'm not sure. And now here comes the next question. Do we really practice vocabulary without getting Queen Grammar involved? Yeah, so you see, this is kind of incorporates both. And can really these two go separately? So some of you, when we have this initial voting, some of you put like vocabulary / grammar, grammar / vocabulary. So I don't know whether these people did not really bother what to teach, or whether these people meant the same, that for primary learners, there is no really pure grammar. There is vocabulary and grammar taught together. So we're going to do some little quiz now, and your task will be very easy. There will be the questions coming on the screen, and if you believe that this statement is about adults, okay, or teenagers or adolescents, you put A. Good. If you think that this is purely about young learners, you put YL, okay? And we'll do it in Zoom chat very fast, right? So here comes again for you. Question number 1. Knowledge such as grammar rules that can be conscious and verbalized. So this is where your students will be telling, okay, to make past simple regular forms, I need to put down ED to the root of the verb. Very quickly, do you think it's more about adults or younger learners? For sure, yes, this is all about adults. We cannot expect, I know there are schools that do expect that from the students, they can repeat that, but is there understanding? Nah, not really sure. Well done. Question number 2. Incidental learning, which means that sometimes your learners do not pick what you were aiming them to do. You know, you, for example, were in the very first lesson, you were planning that you will teach them this is a structure, yeah? But they all leave the classroom with the phrase, open the door or listen to me. This is how incidental learning is happening. So finally, what they produce by the end of the lesson might not be the same you were aiming them to. So do you think it's more about younger learners or adults? Yes, for sure, younger learners, because adults, like, think about yourself, you come to a lesson and you leave with specific product, what you were taught. Younger learners, you never know. Okay, here comes statement number 3. No need to understand the meaning of individual items in the language chunks, yeah? So for example, if you teach your learners, have you got a pen, please? Yeah, your learners will not need to understand, have you got a pen? Yeah, they only need to understand a pen. It is about younger learners. Adults will they will stop it. They will resist this kind of learning, because adults often stop you and say, wait, what does this word mean? I want to know the translation of this one. Learners often memorize the language in chunks. They don't need to understand every single word. This is very important to remember, because we'll remember these cases when 4-year-olds singing Madonna songs in English, not understanding what they sing. But this is very, very enjoyable, you know, for them. Okay, here we go, the question. Clarifying the grammar tense through timelines. What do you think? Is it a lot about younger learners or more about adults? Adults, of course. No timelines for younger learners. We don't teach any timelines. Even if you try, they won't get it. They will see, oh, what a nice picture. Okay, here comes next one, is clarifying grammar through real life experiences and direct application to real life situations. Is it more about younger learners or it's more about adults? Adults. Actually, this refers to both, because learners, younger learners, yeah, I know that I've got an adult here, but it doesn't mean that it's the correct answer. So this is the young learners, because young learners notice grammar very clearly from how you say it and what you say it. For example, when I teach primary learners, my learners pick up continuous forms without even getting continuous grammar yet. Yeah, because I keep teaching them, like, you know, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sitting on a chair. Great. Which chair? Sitting on red chair. So my students already know sitting, reading before we even start continuous forms. My students easily like pick up done or finished, teacher, you know, they don't know past participle forms yet. They learn from the real life context. And obviously that's what they expect back. They want to get the direct application to the real life context. Right. Also, we got STEM. Yeah, adults also needs that, but young learners. So here it's both. The young learners need that as well. Okay. Here comes the next statement for you. Context. Yeah, context and a lot of context. Who do you think this is about? Really? Yeah, exactly, Julia. Both. You cannot teach language without context, regardless you teach adults or regardless you teach young learners. The main difference is that adults will stop you and ask you questions. Okay, teacher, how do you use this grammar? Or, you know, teacher, can you make a sample sentence to demonstrate this grammar? They will stop you. But young learners will not. They will just repeat without understanding. So context is a must. Okay. Negative checking, a lot of negative checking. So what I mean is when your learners say a hair, yeah, you say, I've got a brown hair. And usually you make this, you know, puzzled face and you say a hair. And there is like they all the time giggle. So obviously this is all about young learners. Yes, adults would not understand this approach because they will feel like your teachers are either silly or you're like patronizing them, you know. But young learners usually adore it. Like you say, okay, the banana is blue, and you say, really, is the banana blue? And they usually giggle because they all know that the banana is yellow. But this approach with one hair, like they remember it forever. Okay. Game-like practice of the grammar concept. So where do we get more game-like practice, whether we teach it for vocabulary or we teach it, or whether we teach it for grammar, yeah? Grammar game for adults or for younger learners. Yeah, I can't say no to adults because adults also love games in the lessons, but mostly, yes, younger learners, that's how they learn the language. Absolutely right. Good job. Okay, and then the last question. Memorize it fast, forget it fast. Who is this about? Who's got very short attention span, more adults or more younger learners? For sure, yes, younger learners. Younger learners are the ones that have short-term memory. Even though they pick up language extremely fast, that's how fast they forget the same year. That's the reason why you start every year with present simple, because that's the reason why you introduce present simple and then you introduce present continuous. And when you go to both, they forgot present simple already because they just have short attention span. It's their age thing. You cannot change it. Okay. And here comes one more for you. A lot of recycling every year, sometimes several times within the same year. Who is that? It is about younger learners. You're absolutely right. Adults, I don't think adults will be very happy repeating the same thing. They will feel like they're not moving anywhere, you know, like if they get the same present simple every single time, they would be like, okay, like I don't feel like I'm progressing much, and they might not be very happy. Younger learners have very different things. They simply don't remember they've covered that before. All right, so as you might have noticed that the way they learn, I mean, like the children, yeah, learn is very different from the way adults learn. And this is what we have to remember when planning grammar lessons, either offline or online. So then now we've got several principles of how they learn and how we can incorporate the principles of how they learn into your teaching. Wait, where is my button? Okay. So principle number 1 is called I learn when I observe. And yeah, we kind of, those of you who have kids, you know that they learn from, you know, from looking at these things, and they are much more attentive and they notice those little details that adults might not notice. And very often we have like pictures in the book. Yeah, and this is where you can easily incorporate grammar concept, because they'll be like, you say, okay, guys, now put on your binoculars and look at the pictures very, very carefully. What kind of pictures you can get? Okay, so this comes the picture from a Younger Learner book. Yeah, there is the reference later. So I want you to look at this picture very, very, very carefully and put down in a chat, which grammar topics do you think you can practice or revise or consolidate just by describing this picture? Okay, I'm giving you about a minute to put down. Oh, present continuous, yes. Okay, yeah, anything else, not only present continuous, be more specific. Present simple, possible. All right, okay, now I'll show you what I do. Yeah, past progressive, also cool one. Model can, yes, daily routines, absolutely. Oh, you're even more creative than me. That's cool, I love it. So here go I've done. I've created the treasure hunt around this picture. Yeah, this comes from Team Together 2 book. Some of you know this, like it's Pearson book, but it doesn't matter. It's not related to this particular picture. You can incorporate to the other one. So we play, every time we got this picture, we play the hunting. So I design certain tasks for my students with the dice. So for example, if they roll and they get number 5, they ask the questions, okay, look over here, who's wearing something dark blue? And they make a sentence, oh, he's wearing dark blue. You know, there is a boy, he's wearing dark blue hoodie. Or who is wearing something orange? Oh, she's wearing an orange sweater. This is grammar. This is not much of vocabulary because it is a vocabulary for clothes, but also this is grammar because the grammar practices present continuous with is wearing. If they roll the dice with 4, we practice present continuous. You're absolutely right. Find someone who is smiling, find someone who is drawing, you know, and they roll it and they say, okay, this girl is drawing, this girl is running, all these different things. Also, we practice can, is right, but not only about can play the guitar, can draw, can run, but we also practice can you see. I teach can you see, and I can see from the very, 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 very first lessons. Every time we open the book, we say, okay, I see, I can see. And this is what we get. You know, for practice, how many girls can you see with dark hair? Oh, I can see 3 girls with dark hair. It's all about structures. If they roll, for example, 2 on the dice, we do revise jobs, but also imperatives. Point to a doctor, point to a pop star, and they've got like a set of different tasks. If they get 1, we practice plural forms. How many boys can you see? Yeah, I can see 3 boys. Or I can see 5 girls, I can see, 2 rockets. So the picture itself already shows you different kinds of versions of grammar patterns that it's not used to present, it's used to practice, revise, consolidate. But remember, we recycle a lot. Now, also what I do with absolutely same picture. We have topic dice, yeah? So sometimes you can design, especially for offline lessons, but online lessons, where on every site, instead of numbers, they've got different kinds of topics. And they have to make, they have to make a sentence about the picture, yeah? So kind of describing the picture, but they have to talk about something that's shown on the dice. Yeah, we also play alphabet dice. It's not much grammar, but it's great because they got their letter and they have to find what's something that's starting with this letter. I Spy game, I know we all know it like I spy something starting with A, but we play I spy someone who is cooking. I spy someone who is running. I spy someone who is touching the dog, I spy someone who is smiling, I spy someone who has got orange hair. So this is all about, so I spy does not need only to be about letters. It can be about any grammar topic. Name 5 actions that you can see. Name 5 things that people are wearing. Now, find plurals. Name 5 things that we use with are. Name 5 things that we use with is. And then you say, okay, like jeans are, shoes are, sandals are, but a cap is, you know, a helmet is. Of course, guessing games. Yes, no questions to practice present continuous. So you think of a secret person, they ask you questions. Is he running? Is she touching the dog? And or is he wearing like, you know, green sweater? Has he got blonde hair? So this is also practicing grammar questions. So technically, you've seen that the picture itself in the teacher's book, you will not get these ideas. But if you look very, very carefully and ask yourself questions, okay, what kind of grammar I can get from this picture, you will get a lot. Principle number 2 is obviously I learn when I create. And especially I found it very useful when we moved online because first of all, during COVID times, they were pretty bored at home. Second thing, because it's much easier because they have parents around sometimes to help them, not me running around and worrying about safety issues, you know, with scissors and glues and so on, but both online, offline. So for example, for grade 5, we create the 0 to hero topics. And this is where I develop their critical thinking. Have a look at what grammar. So I ask my students to write down the following. Yeah, they follow the favorite color. Then I ask them to write something they can't do, but they would love to be able to do, especially grade 4 or grade 5. Something they're afraid of. And then you can easily supplement it with other stuff, okay? I'm telling you what I've done, but you can change it. You can change, you know, this into pets, the foods that you like, what you eat for breakfast, whatever. After this, I ask my students to include this information and create the superhero. So, for example, they can write the superhero's name. You know, then what they fight against, because this is, you know, because it's superhero, something about their costume, because that should be their
hello, mom.
And also their special ability. This is something that they would love to do, but they're not able to do. Obviously, primary learners, you can create sentence templates, you know, sentence starters. While your you know, like older learners can be more creative and create their own stories. It all depends on the student's age. Obviously, their weakness. This is done easily both online and offline. And then obviously the students present their issues and their superheroes to the partners. Either they show them in the screen, or they might, you know, if it's in the classroom, you can display those. The superhero story usually has the follow-up. So like we started at the very beginning of the year, and then during the year, we come back to superhero topics. For example, if I need my students to practice present simple, let's say grade 4, and yeah, we got, okay, you say, guys, I found the missing page from my superhero's diary. And okay, let's imagine what a typical day for a superhero is like. Here we go, present simple. And they write the diary entry for their superhero and they present it. So this thing can get a lot of follow-ups, but you come back to the superhero topic and you make them create it. Okay, so have a look at this thing. Think about, like, you can put ideas in a chat. What do you think this grammar is practicing? What do you think we're practicing with this one? Okay, I'll be putting more photographs and you will find out. Okay, and it is? It is, yes. To be more specific, we were practicing superlatives. Yeah, and that was the winter topic. And the task was, obviously, I asked my students to create the smallest snowman they could. And then for the homework, they sent me photographs of the smallest snowman. And then they measured that. Like it's this long or this tall. You see, this girl, she made this many snowmen to have a very good competition, to have everything's ready. But obviously this one was the winner, because I can't even imagine how you can make it. But that was the smallest. And we had our online competition and students giggled a lot because, yeah, you know, like young learners, they love doing something either extremely big or something extremely small. That's fun. All right. Another thing is that we have to remember is about the following. Of course, I learn when I play, okay? And here we have to be very specific. When I say I learn when I play, this is not like some of teachers does. You know, first we do some learning, and then if you behave well, and if we have time, then we'll play the game. No, that's not what the primary learning is like. I've seen these teachers, that's how his students will look like, yeah, like this boy. So, okay, again, grammar. No, obviously no. So here we can get a lot of guessing drills. Yeah, I call them guessing drills. Some people call them guessing games. If you teach offline, you might notice that guessing games usually provoke a lot of energy from the students because this is extremely competitive. Guessing games all the time, very successful if you need to, you know, warm them up. They can easily be done online. So you can start from, is it a bunny? Yes, it is. So they guess the flashcards, you keep them secret. Okay, they guess it. It can go like from there. Are there any chairs in the picture? Yes, there are. Ask them to draw something, or in the class, you know, ask them to, ask the room. Usually I can do it in my classroom. Guys, I'm in a new classroom. Ask me questions. What do you see in my classroom? And they ask me questions. Are there any chairs? You say, yeah, and then you show where the chairs are, you know? So all the different things. The biggest advantage of being online is not that you have to travel at home, not travel from home to work, but this is because there is a lot of realia. Or you can also like get, you know, if you got the picture, you can ask them questions like we did before. Yeah, is he sitting on the chair? All these things. You can play like different games, you know, about secret people or about the same superhero. You say, guys, here is the superhero map. And now ask me questions. Which countries has my superhero been to? And they ask me questions about superhero. Or you can ask the same questions about, you know, like about the person, or again, my superhero woman, what's she wearing? So guessing drills are not only for the purpose of guessing, but remember that they make the students repeat. They make the students repeat many times without understanding that they are memorizing the structure. Okay. Another thing is that we often forget, but this is very true about online learning, is you say, I learn when I move. And this is like a must need for the grammar lessons, and actually for any lessons. You have to make them stand up in your lessons and do anything, sing songs, mime, show. Sitting in front of the screen is very tiring and very boring, and you cannot concentrate if you do not move. You must incorporate any movement activities. And obviously total physical approach and total physical response. I'm not even asking you what it is, because I believe that every primary teacher knows that what total physical response is. Please make sure that not every movement activity is a total physical response. Total physical response is meaningful. If you ask your students to clap when they listen to a song, and when they hear the ocean animal, they have to clap. This is not total physical response, okay? Because this is not really meaningful much. But if you ask the students, okay, now show me how you write with a very big pen. Now, show me how you write with a very tiny pencil. All right, and that's what total physical response about. Now, there is a conception that total physical response can be used to teach any grammar. Not really, okay? Because we have to remember that that it should be meaningful and it should be real life. So total physical response is great for imperatives. Of course, open your book, sit down, stand up, turn around, jump, run, get your fish, feed your dog. All these things are imperatives. Total physical response is great for present continuous, because if you look at yourself, that's how you use present continuous, right? To talk about actions that you see they're happening now. That's what present continuous is about. Total physical response is great with sign to show present results and changes. What I mean is, for example, you say, okay, look at me, what I've done. You say, oh, you've taken your hat off. Oh, you've put on your sunglasses. So only this present perfect. Present perfect to talk about experiences, total physical response wouldn't really work. I mean, they will do it, but how necessary it is. And here comes the question for going to. To be honest, I've seen a lot of like miming exercises for the going to, but like if you look at the students, they're not really showing what you are going to do. They are showing what they're doing, which is not very natural context for going to. Yeah. So if you say like, if your students have to say, to show like you are going to run, they don't need to run. They just need to show the starting action of running. But a lot of them just show they're running, and that's not meaningful. So here there are some restrictions, but total physical response teaching online is a must. Yeah, another scene is about different kinds of movement games. Yeah, and that's not much of a physical approach. So when you ask your students, you teach primary learners and you teach alphabet and say, okay, this is an A, and they show letter A, this is the movement games. All right, so for example, run and touch games. That's what I do when I need I need to differentiate, or they need to differentiate where now and every day is. Yeah, I cannot guarantee there is very clear understanding where present simple and present continuous is used, but they know that we use informs for now and every day. So I ask my students to write 2 words on 2 pieces of paper. Puts the papers in different parts of the room. And then I say a sentence and they run around the room, touching the papers in every part of the room. Usually very fun for them because they're running, very fun for me because I just look how they run, enjoy, have fun. And I like, it's like they are home. So I don't really care about, you know, safety issues. Very cool. I love it. Another scene is about different kind of feedback on tasks. Yeah, I mean, if you every time you ask your student, okay, now Sasha read sentence number 1. Now Michael read sentence number 2. Andrew read sentence number 3. Not really good. Ask your students, for example, jump for true or sit down for false. You know, if you do reading exercise and then your students read the sentences and they tick for true and then false, instead of them saying, okay, so my superhero gets up at 7 o'clock, it's false. Don't do that. Ask them to sit down or stand up if the sentence is true or false. Ask one student to read it. The other students would listen and repeat. The same thing can be done for present simple. You read a sentence with mistakes, okay? You can say, he go to school every day. Is it good sentence or bad sentence? Oh, it's bad sentence. Sit down. Or it's a good sentence. Jump. So make them move and differentiate good structures. Yeah. Okay, another scene is where you practice there is, there are. I mean, there is, and that's what was a very big success in my classes when actually COVID started, because very often for there is, there are, I ask my students either to draw their classroom and talk about it, or draw their room and talk about it. Online, it's much easier. They take the mobile phone, they walk around the room and they talk about what there is. Yeah, real life application. There is a fish, there is a plant, there is my dog. So there is a lot of real life application happening. Make a tour around your house or make a tour around your table. What can you see? Show. Okay, hunt around the house is another scene which is great for the students. It can start from like colors, plurals, materials. I even do it with, you know, like pre-teens. We talk about materials. So how does hunt around the house work? Is it's your favorite website and all, you know, the Bamboozle thing. Bamboozle has some, you know, ready scavenger hunts. So they get the, you know, the task, and I give them, okay, guys, you have 30 seconds, run around your house and bring me something soft. Okay, or find something that is soft. find something that has buttons, yeah? Find something that is pink, you know, find something that makes a noise. So I have several sets of treasure hunts like this. I have sets like is and has, you know, to differentiate between is and has. After that, the students show the scene in front of the screen and say, look, teacher, this t-shirt has buttons, you know, or look, teacher, this bear is soft. So we turn this treasure hunt around the house into a very practical task. All right. Another scene is, another principle is called I learn when I speak, and I learn when I hear myself speak. And that's very important because often we teachers, we forget that it's like we teach, but they learn. And it's important that they speak, not us. We cannot make them speak unless they want to speak. So we have a lot of Modi drills, and Modi drills can be either we do song chants, right? Or I'll show you which one, or we ask them to repeat with different emotions. So, okay, guys, do you remember what is this? It's a hippo. Good job. Now say as if you're happy. Say if you were quiet. Say, you know, say if you're angry. Say as if you're an old man. This one, I'll be like, there is a very cool song which I often use with my students. It's called like the Days of the Week song. I'll get the beginning, okay, so you get it. So the days of the week, I'll give you the link later. So it goes like this. Okay, let's give me a second. Okay.
I like to sing them quiet. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 7 days are in a week. I like to sing them loud. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 7 days are in a week. I like to clap them out. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Okay, so yeah, so basically this is the days of the week song, and they say, okay, Sundays, and there are 7 days in the week. But the idea of this song is that we do not only drill the days of the week in their order, but it's a pretty long song. I'll send you a link on Zoom chat. It's got okay, sing them loud, sing them quiet, you know, clap them out, stamp them out, say them proud. So they've got different kinds of emotions that are incorporated. Usually students love it. I tried with 5-year-olds, and that was as much enjoyable. I'm not sure about like whether that was much memorable and meaningful for them in terms of days of the week, but at the song, they absolutely loved it. So Modi drills, incorporate Modi drills. Don't just make them say, you know, as it is. Here comes the link. Yeah, add some emotions, because they learn through emotions. All right, okay, moving on. Also, that's another thing which usually online lessons give you this opportunity. I really liked it in offline lessons. I also had it, but it was mostly organized by me. Now they can do it on their own. The principle is I learn best when I hear, when I see, when I smell, touch, feel. We all know they all love to touch things, not because they're curious, because that's how they learn. And if we come back to the same thing, yeah, the same treasure around the house works very well. Bring me something sour, you know, lemon is sour. Now bring me apples. Apples are red. So go from treasure around the house and make them touch real thing. I had like the scene about treasure around the house. I say, okay, guys, bring me one object from the bathroom, one object from the bedroom, one object from the, you know, from the corridor. So they brought these 5 objects. Now we practice. The soap comes from the bathroom. The spoon comes from the kitchen. You know, the pillow comes from the bedroom. So they practice this comes from thing. But the idea of offline lesson was that they got the realia, and they could show it to everyone, and they could, you know, it was much more real life application to the grammar structures. Also, there is a lot of things like guess the sound. I love playing guessing the sound songs, and they love it. And I use this technique even if I need to cover the lesson and I have not much time to prepare. I use that same. So on YouTube, I often find like the sounds, and the sounds will go sometimes like this, yeah? Just a second. So, and the students very often, of course, they're animals, but can be transport, whatever. And here comes, they be like sounds like, oi. Okay, listen, so. Okay, and I've got a set of different sounds like that. And yeah, or like that, you see, and they guess, and they say like, yeah, and yeah, usually they smile when they get this activity, and they also say like, you know, I can hear, or it might be. I even tried it out when we had food, because I found like on YouTube, I found the cooking sound and say, okay, guys, what's being cooked? And they were like guessing, you know, what's been eaten. So just search the YouTube. There is, it takes a bit more time, but usually it's much more memorable, and they loved it very, very much. Okay. And yeah, we move on. Just a second. Here we go. And also draw different kinds of sensory pictures. I ask my students, like, describe the things around you. Yeah, look around, what you see. You know, I see the wall, I see my brother. So these practices I see, but also real life application. Very often I say, what from your window, what can you see? It's easy, you know, in the classroom, everyone will see the same, but at the home, a lot of people will see different things. Or you can say, there is, there are, you know, what is there out of your window? Yeah, there are trees, there is a house. So they do describe its real life application. You can also say like what they can hear. Yeah, from the window, what they can hear. Or what if they can hear nothing? Also, I ask my students to draw or make models. Yeah, so technically, like we did the snowman scene. It was an example of how they learn through creation. Yeah, they draw or model their real life experiences, draw the daily routine. Yeah, what you do. Do not only ask them to take a pen and write it in a notebook. This is boring, but make it draw and then label what they do. Draw the map of the street, like this boy is doing, yeah? So you get them, you know, draw where they live. Or you can, you know, draw their breakfast food. Or I made my students make their breakfast food out of plasticine, and then they were showing this to the other partners and talking about this, yeah, which one's delicious and which are disgusting for them. All right. Also, another principle, which is very relevant, not only for teaching grammar, but generally when you teach anyone who is pretty young, and not young, I would say everyone. Where is my mouse? Wait, I lost my mouse. You go, okay. Yeah, I learn when I'm engaged. I mean, online, it's very hard to organize, because they're online, you cannot, like, you know, look at them much, or you can very often that will be, you know, like the what's called, you know, when you talk to the dead souls, you know, like you address them. That sometimes happens, but we still remember that we have to engage them every time, and this is so that you don't get this thing. Okay, we believe that our lessons are like this. Yeah, we've got a lot of creativity, and this is what I got like last week. Yeah, that's what they get. Another English lesson, another grammar lesson. Okay, where is that? And yeah, wait, why it doesn't work? Okay, I don't know why it doesn't work. I'll try it out. Yeah, it doesn't, somehow it disappears. Okay, I'll show you right now what the picture says. So yeah, I got the letter from my, yeah, we were writing about their typical lesson, yeah? So this is what I got. This is how the lesson looks like to my student. First, you need to say hello for the teacher and say, how was the day? Now, you have to do exercise in the book. Then you have to do the exercise that the teacher says, and then you do the last exercise, and finally you have to say goodbye. And I was like, really, guys? That's all you remember. So yeah, that's what about how important for the students to be engaged. Another thing that you need to remember is, obviously, you learn when you are praised. And this is, I mean, sometimes it's very hard to say something good about kids, but I follow the principle is that you know, it's better say little than to complain every single time. I mean, yeah, like sometimes the child is like that and you just do your best. Calling the parents every single lesson does not really help, neither you nor them nor the child. So try to find something good, even if it's tiny thing, even if the student is all the time quiet and answered only once. Yeah, there is something that they can shine with. Another thing is, again, very relevant to primary learners, but not only. I learn when my efforts are noticed. And this is the message that I got from my, this is preteens, she's 10. So she just joined grade 5. I asked them to, we are practicing first conditional sentences. I want you to spend about a minute and read what, especially this paragraph. Okay, we are done. That's what she feels about her school and her efforts. I know the grammar is not perfect, but it's not important so far, yeah, because we were practicing first conditional and she's done her best expressing herself. Okay, yeah. And obviously, one more last thing that we unfortunately, we kind of try to guarantee that, but they learn best, of course, when they feel safe. And if we really cannot guarantee this thing outside, you know, at least for the time of your English lessons, and giving them fun and give them something real life, something that they will enjoy, I think this also gives them some, you know, some atmosphere of safety for at least like 45 minutes a day. Okay, and this is a letter which I got this year from the student. I was teaching that student last year, but unfortunately, due to the condition of the country, he was in the occupied territory, so he couldn't attend the classes any longer, but he managed to send me the letter like this. It was like Christmas. Congratulations. So sometimes, I mean, I know it requires a lot of your creativity, a lot of preparation, but sometimes it's worth it just for the letter like this. Okay, perfect. We've got some time for your questions. Feel free to send me questions on Zoom or feel free to switch on your mic and ask me questions. Okay. Oh, great. Got some questions. Oh, yeah. Okay. I've got a lot of thanks. That's it for me. Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you very much, guys. We have no questions. If you have any more questions, you just keep sending. But thank you for your attention. Julie has something exciting to share.
Oh, yeah, we have a question from Natalia. How long does it take you to prepare a lesson from scratch?
From the lesson from scratch, I mean a grammar lesson. From the scratch, it might take, the ideas might take like about 30 minutes, but it all depends on the materials. Sometimes material preparation will take longer than the lesson itself. Material preparation, I mean, sometimes if I'm teaching a sensory lesson, I need to go to the shop and buy products to bring to class. So that takes time. Teaching online, I noticed that I spend more time preparing materials because everything should be very visual, very visual. I would not spend this much time preparing presentation if I was doing offline, because you take flashcards, you know, you take puppets and go and teach. When you do online, it does take longer.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm just checking if we have more questions. No, only one we skipped. All right. Many thanks to you, Olena, for your wonderful presentation. A lot of fruitful ideas. Again, I want to come back to teaching primary students, maybe one day. Thank you very much for everything you shared with the teachers. I hope everyone enjoyed. And I have to remind the teachers that they will get their recording of this webinar together with the certificates tomorrow in the follow-up email. And I also have to say, to share some information with you too. So I said about the presentation and the recording, and also if you skip the webinar or if you want to watch more sessions from Great Teacher Training and from Great University, here's the link to our video library. You can scan it now, and this session is also going to be there, but we have other webinars to watch there for English teachers on different topics. And I have an amazing piece of news for Olena too. I finally finished your course on motivating teenagers, and it's also on the platform right now. So if you scan this QR code, it will take you to the video library, and also you can see that there are many courses, and Olena is the author of one of them. The course on motivating teenagers. Don't be afraid to try a demo, and because it's an amazing piece of work, and there are so many things that you have to know and you have to learn. It's really amazing, and there are a lot of useful things that you will learn, even if you don't teach teenagers, but if you're thinking about teaching teenagers. All right. We have one more upcoming event next week. It's going to be the webinar with Mariam Kezemova. She's going to talk about the importance of using authentic materials in teaching English, especially for listening and reading. Don't forget to register for this event as well. You can scan this QR code and it will take you to our website. And one more event for teachers in March. This is the workshop from Lydia Simak. On teaching writing for exams, and we are going to talk in particular about B1 and B2 exams for schools from Cambridge, and Lida is going to share her tips on preparing students for these exams. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Let me check if we have more questions. No questions. All right. Great. We love you too. That's why we are here actually. Yeah, sending you love and hugs to everyone. Yeah. And thank you everyone. And thank you again, Olena, for delivering this wonderful session to our teachers today. All right. We will wait a few minutes in case we have some more questions. We have flowers from teaching and stars from teachers. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. And see you at our upcoming events too. Yeah. Thank you everyone for coming today. All right, I will stop the recording now.